Well, my name is Willi Paul, and I have recently decided to be a mythologist, but I'm trying to incorporate permaculture and transition into the new stories I'm writing. So you can challenge me on being a new mythologist, but I do have a PDC, and I do have other stuff to share with regards to permaculture. But what I'm trying to do is take this to another level, take it into a story, because my basic premise is that we don't have enough stories about permaculture and transition, or poems, or songs for that matter. Do you know any rock bands that have a hit song about permaculture? Just name one for me, will you?
Can't do it.
Okay, so there's a void here. That's you don't count. You're going to the casino later.
No.
Do you know the song? Did you guys get one of these?
No. There's a pretty cool rock song on YouTube. I forget the guy's name. It's about permaculture.
Oh, the Permaculture Principles, yeah. It was like a talent show. But yeah, it's YouTube. It's not YouTube, so.
Okay, so page 1 of the magical handout. I'm creating a place that has succeeded from the United States called Cascadia as a literary tool. It includes Northern California to, where's that place? Vancouver. Good place to include, right? So it doesn't really exist, but I'm hoping that you'll get some impetus, some stimulus from saying, wow, we could have a whole new place that doesn't have to be about Oregon and Washington. We could do that, don't you think?
Sure, why not?
Why not? Page 2, folks. Here's a timeline, and I'm just going to put that out there for discussion. I see a period of transition into a period of chaos. You know, some people might say we're already in chaos. You know, hey Willie, this is chaos. Look at all the stuff going around you. And then there's a final post-chaos period. So who can speak to that? Do you think we're in chaos? Do you think we're in a transition? Or what the hell are we in? Help me with that.
We're in the beginning phases of transition that will look more chaotic down the road.
Cool. That's a good idea. Anybody else with an idea about this time period thing?
It's more like an awareness, right? People are starting to acknowledge where they're at and what their bioregion does.
Yeah, it's an awareness. It's not necessarily a chunk of time. It's not 1945 to 50, right? It's about a wider consciousness. That's maybe the most important part of this diagram. Do you think we're in a chaotic period? You don't?
Yeah.
Cool.
No. I mean, I think maybe. I think if we were in chaos, people would be abandoning the systems.
Or making new ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe there's a little chaos going on.
Well, I don't think that enough people are making new systems yet.
Okay,
so
good point. Yes, sir.
I think chaos is going to be defined by the declaration of martial law.
Nice.
And when the disorder is so great that people who have military power declare martial law, then you'll know that chaos has begun.
Somebody went humph over here. Did you go humph when you said martial law? Oh, shucks. I was hoping you did. What does martial law do to permaculturists in transition? What does it mean?
I just wanted to point out is that there's different time scales involved. So there's an ecological chaos that is pretty emergent.
Okay.
Whereas, maybe we have a social lag here going on. Okay. And
that's a nice idea.
Political. Even worse than that.
Okay, so how are you taking preparations for the chaos martial law thing? What are you doing personally to make that smooth transition? Give us a couple of ones if you could.
I guess attending things like this is a way of preparing. Strengthening your community.
Okay.
And that's very vague, I guess, but yeah, just always learning and looking for ways to make things better for yourself.
That sort of process to me is a chance to make new songs or new poems. and then to share your work in a wider audience. That's one of the messages of my workshop today, is how we get personal preparedness scattered to the winds so we're ready for what you call martial law, what I call chaos. Okay, let's go to symbols. Symbols are my friends. I love them. What I'm trying to promote here is a new set of symbols based on permaculture so we can incorporate those into our stories. Now, does anybody have any sort of feedback for me on what I'm calling like turning or renewal? It's a shovel in the dirt. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you think that's a symbol of anything?
Well, I would think more turning, like the compost is the symbol of turning and renewal. But I could see for people who are gardeners and not necessarily in permaculture sense, like just getting their hands back in the soil, quote unquote, you know, is a symbol. Whereas like we need to, I think in our systems, be less and less in the soil.
Speaking of which, the dance new rituals up in the upper right. This is a photograph I took from my PDC. We were making soil for a cob oven. And I said, well, that's got to be something more, you know? Let's make it more than just dirty feet. So I only ask you to reflect on what symbols you're using and what do they really mean, and why can't we make new symbols to build with? So, can you think of any sacred symbols? And not necessarily on my sheet, but in general. When I say sacred symbol, what does that mean to you?
Omniscient.
Omniscient.
Omnipresent, omnipotent.
Now, there's a big deal about sacred in permaculture. I went through that door and got beat up about it. So I had to find some other way to work. Because I feel strongly about permaculture being a sacred process or a community. But I would like to know what you guys think about sacred symbols, how it works in your work as a permaculturist. Do you have any ideas for me?
Fibonacci sequence. It's great.
Okay.
Pleasing to the eye and design.
Well,
It's sacred.
what is sacred to you in general? Just throw something out for me.
Preserving life.
Good. That's not very controversial, is it? Or is it? Apparently, we're going to go to the next page because it's getting hot in here. All right, now I'm going to dive into some stuff that may be a little esoteric to you guys. Who knows what alchemy is? I won't pick on you for a while. Sir, do you know what alchemy is?
Alchemy is combining the spirit and the material in the process of
Right. He's talking about a transmutation or a transmutation of a phase from one to the next. So who else can talk about alchemies? I think this guy can, if I can ask you. What's alchemy to you?
well, originally, I know it as taking certain metals, trying to create gold.
Nice. Did that work out for you?
I haven't tried it much, but no.
Okay, this is the same deal as the symbols. I gave that rap already, but what I'm trying to do is promote a new alchemy set. Because we need a new alchemy set. Because we need new stories to teach our children to get around this impasse coming. So I've written extensively about how rock music is an alchemy, permaculture transition. One of the things I sort of invented was localization is an alchemy. That is that we come back to the center of town and we grow gardens and we talk to each other. We have a localization transformation. So I think that that's a type of alchemy. And I'm just throwing it out today. Maybe you'll take it, maybe not. And then there's some resources about alchemy, and we'll pass those by. It's too much to read, but you can come back to those. Now, we're going to go to this series of 6 pictures. These are video stills. I recently did an interview with folks at a transition event in Palo Alto, and they talked about 2 or 3 minutes about what the future was like. So this is one of the tools I'm promoting to you guys, because that's the title of my workshop, Tools for the Transition. But it's also, what are the transitional values, and how can we promote them, make stories from them, make them larger than they are, get them out, get them to your father, you know? Gosh, that'd be interesting. So, can I pick on you?
Sure.
Okay. What are some of the transitional values that you prescribe to?
I don't know if I really know that answer yet. I mean, I think that's what I'm exploring.
Okay, cool. Okay, can anybody jump in and fill us out about transitional values? What is transition? What are the values underpinning it?
Adaptability.
Who?
Adaptability.
Nice. Can you explain that?
Just being able to go transitioning from this period to the chaos period. Like how resilient are you going to be in that area? And if you can adapt, you get to survive. You not only survive but thrive eventually.
Right. Cool. That's really good.
No outcome thinking.
Nice. No outcome thinking. How about you might want to explain that?
Well, I think, you're talking about you were talking about the sacred symbols, and I like the idea of Fibonacci, the spiral. But we live in such a linear world that part of the transition is getting comfortable with nonlinear. And so, if we go out of sequence, it drives a lot of people crazy if you go out of sequence. So we're always kind of expecting some type of outcome and end. If we knew the answer, if we knew the end, then it wouldn't be such a transition. So it's trying to kind of, be okay with not knowing. Kind of the wisdom of not knowing is kind of not only to an outcome, like it has to be a certain way.
Okay. Interesting. Well, transition also includes opportunities to share freely, for free, stuff that we might need. It's like, to me, it's like the new, what's that place that takes in stuff? You can go buy it for free or cheaply. Goodwill, right. It's like Goodwill, only it's been zinged up a little bit for us. Isn't that true? Isn't that transition to you? Goodwill, only maybe more in your face?
Like recycle online. Yeah, more recycling and reusing, more cycles.
Okay.
Upcycling.
Yeah. Transition isn't complicated.
Yes.
Anybody else? Would you like to talk about transition?
Me?
Well, I think about, I guess when I think about it, about transition, I think about strengthening community.
Okay.
And when I think about myths and symbols, for me, the symbol of the earth from space is the most powerful sacred symbol that I know of. And to go with that, I think the universe story is a very powerful story that is supported by both science and, indigenous wisdom.
Good. Perfect. Anybody else on transition?
The bigger the jump, the more critical having the transition dialed in as far as making a safe landing.
Is there any conflict between permaculture and transition?
I think permaculture is the tool for transition.
Very good. That's a very wise decision. Okay, let's turn the page to stories, songs, poems, and new myths. This is some of the work I've been doing. You can check it out later. One of the things I'm really interested in is using sound for creating myth, eliminating the verbiage and using the sound itself as a symbol. Does that resonate with anybody? Have you ever saw a myth made of sounds only?
How about those 2 notes to the movie Jaws?
Yeah, or Fantasia, synesthesia.
Right, how about E.T.? Isn't there some sort of computerized note sequence? Right? So, I'm offering up that a new way to look at myth would be to make it with sounds only. And that might trigger something deeper in our consciousness and get us further down the road faster. So check out what I'm calling water, sound, symbol, myth.
Do you have any experience with that?
With?
Do you have with what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's right here in the middle.
Can you explain it a little bit? Like what do you?
Yeah, I had a conception of maybe a 90-second piece, and then I found sounds that would kind of relate to the sequence of the ideas. Like you're walking to the store and you're walking back, and I found sounds that sort of fit that sequence, and then I recorded them and put them together, sliced them together, and I also put some visuals that would help the listener understand the sound symbol itself. So that's what you'll find there. It's pretty far out, but check it out. All right. So one of my heroes is Joseph Campbell. Everybody know who Joseph Campbell is? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Joseph Campbell, please?
Writer, professor. He wrote about finding one's bliss, about the elements of myth and human struggle and moving on to our lives, our various cycles of life. And he was presented by Bill Moyers in that whole series on TV. It was very powerful.
Yes. Okay. I'll get you your $10 later.
Thank you.
I would say that the bliss that Campbell's talking about is an alchemy. It's a positive force. If you experienced it, I think you would understand it. I have. I might still have it. It's elusive, but it's something that's very mysterious and hard to quantify. But here I am with this workshop about new myths based on Campbell's work. So, in a sense, I have evidence of the bliss. I am the bliss, in a sense. Whatever. All right, let's talk about heroes. Change the subject. Can you tell me one of your heroes?
Heroes. I suppose Joseph Campbell is one. Some people I know personally, mentors of mine.
That's good. Don't struggle. I like Joseph Campbell. Is it good? All right. Who else has a hero? Come on, guys. This is the easy question over here.
Starhawk.
Starhawk. Right on.
Stalking Wolf. Ernest Callenbach.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of Kallenbach in my stick. Yeah, I admit that. Who else?
Aldo Leopold.
Great. May rest in peace. Huh?
Thomas Berry.
Oh, nice.
Geronimo.
I think a lot of these guys.
Danella Meadows.
Okay, thanks. A lot of these heroes are related to nature and the environmental movement. Did you catch that thread? So, what should we take from that? What is the relevance of our heroes being environmentalists?
I'd say, like, instead of heroes that can kill a lot of people, we're valuing heroes that will stand up for nature, and that's the new cultural shift. So
Right.
if we were to
Transition.
create our own list, yeah.
That's brilliant. Good. And we just have to keep adding more heroes in that vein.
Also, my heroes live their stuff. You know, it's not just about having a theory or the vision. There are people who put it into practice.
Cool. I would tell you that the convergence is a process of initiation. Does that seem right? Are you feeling that you're here to learn something and to take something away that you can use anew, something you didn't know? Well, that's one of Joseph Campbell's mainstays, initiation, as well as the journey, which is the longer, perhaps, initiation process. But this weekend, to me, is initiation. Anybody have any thoughts about their initiations in their lives? What they've gone through? Want to share?
The lack of.
Oh, the lack of initiation. That's interesting. You can read now.
I have a thought.
The initiations are almost always religious or governmental. Like when you get sworn into the bar, when you make your first communion, you know, when you get just those, and then the marriage ritual, but that's much more customized.
Oh, okay.
But the sort of age transitions, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, they're within a certain culture, but that's all we have.
Right.
Become a citizen. I mean, those are good rituals, but we don't have anything in our culture marking puberty or old age or, you know.
Good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody about mythology, and they were saying that the Joseph Campbell kind of hero's journey myth, which is sort of like a separation thing, is sort of, well, she was thinking of it as kind of a masculine mythic structure, and was kind of proposing another way, because that's kind of like the way, because of how powerful Joseph Campbell's ideas are, is kind of the way a lot of people think of myths as mythic structure, and she was talking about another sort of structure is more like coming together instead of the separation journey and sort of convergences, which is maybe more, yeah, so.
Nice. Very good. So, do you have a sense that permaculture is a shared journey? Is it a collective? Is it a populace? Is it a one? Or is it just a bunch of people scattered about doing their own little things? Anybody?
A little bit of both, but we're kind of just a big guild.
There are a lot of lone wolves and a lot of tribes and collectives too.
So, how do we solve the problem of disintegration, I guess, or separateness?
Convergences.
More nodes.
Yes, good. Okay. All right, let's flip over to the Green Man myth. Take a second to read the larger print. So, has anybody seen the Green Man?
Yeah.
Man, where have you seen him?
I was given a bird bath with the symbol of the green man's face in it, which I still have.
Cool.
Really powerful.
Okay. All right. Anybody else seen him? Or her, I guess.
I see him in a lot of the people around me.
All right.
A friend of mine has a tattoo on his leg, and then he has oak leaves that travel around his leg, and the green man is on his leg.
Interesting. So Jung thinks he's an archetype, and he also talks about being a symbol. That's interesting. That's a lot. I was really fixed on this idea of ritual. Are there any rituals happening at the Convergence this weekend?
Well, Skeeter's got his way of doing ritual, and then we might have something a little bit more, we might have something a little bit more tomorrow morning.
What's Skeeter's ritual thing?
Oh, right, because you missed it.
Demonstrate.
Well, he followed the directions yesterday, and then we do a song and dance together, and then there's times to talk and make eye contact together, and then we all eat. So that's the ritual structure.
It's really dorky, but it's fun.
Yeah.
That's nasty. Does anybody else have a reflection on the paragraph, the Green Man? Anything? Yes.
It's all over Europe, in ancient buildings, the Green Man.
I think that's true, yeah. Started there. Anything to add to it?
Well, I'm thinking about the Green Man, but I'm also reflecting on your comment about, what are the female, what's the Green Woman, and how does our own cultural views kind of shape what we, how do we cultivate our reference points? It seems so cultural, because I think that there are lots of stories in Latin America and Colombian that where it's a lot more kind of the Pachamama influence and the idea of the mother And the Green Man is really kind of it's like the spark that happens with lightning. But the Green Man can't be the Green Man without the Green Woman. But right now, it's the Green Woman in many ways the unnamed, and kind of the nameless and the faceless that we're trying to bring about. But you're talking about the initiations, and I think we have the opportunity for initiation all the time. And every change of season is a great opportunity for us to make new rituals and new initiations, and not leave it to an institutional level. What do we want to make it, and then ritual becomes what we make it each time we go back to it.
True. Okay. So how do we bring up the Green Woman myth, the Green Woman? How do we do that from a practical standpoint?
Conversation.
Conversation. Okay.
Isn't that like the concept of Gaia?
That's what I was going to say. Why does it have to be the green woman?
Doesn't.
Why can't it be
Gender
the
neutral.
goddess, or there's a lot of tradition out there around that sacred feminine nature.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Those myths are already here too. If we'll pay attention to what the culture was here before Europeans came here, those myths are already here. I listen to Johnny Moses tell stories all the time, and he talks about, I guess, what you could call the Green Man, but often the women are very powerful healers, and they're connected to the earth. The earth energy is coming, and there's many different stories about Coyote, who's a trickster, and then there's the stories about women who transform themselves into different elements of weather and everything. I think those myths, I think it's a matter of listening differently. If you can hear them really well.
Very, very nice. Well, I've always thought that the old myths are kind of ineffective, and that's why I'm so keen on writing new ones. So that's my sort of short answer.
Ineffective how?
The Norse gods or the classical Greek folks, I don't have any connection to them anymore. So why not listen to them?
Murderers. Yes.
Yeah.
Applicable to
So they've just been cut off. I don't necessarily know when, but it's cut off for me. So
They're
when
still
you-
really alive for me. I mean, I love all those myths, and they seem like they're very very much part of how I look at the world.
Good.
I mean,
Okay.
but I can understand how they would be for everybody.
Maybe Sisyphus. He's about the only one that's really super alive today.
So for those who don't know the gentleman, who is he? Tell us a little bit about Sisyphus.
Oh, Sisyphus is a hard-working gentleman, arduously working, pushing a boulder up the top of the hill, and only to get almost to the top, and the boulder falls all the way back down to the bottom, which he goes down to the bottom and pushes it back up again. And that's pretty much all I know about Sisyphus. So, and it's just a metaphor for working towards something that leads you nowhere. And it's a lot of effort put forth in a direction that isn't constructive. It's I take it as just a non-constructive use of one's energy and resources.
Not only that, it's required and it's forever.
Yeah.
He's condemned to do this forever.
Oh, that's right, the condemnation piece.
Yeah.
I forgot that
This
piece.
is hell.
I forgot that he was
He
condemned to
offended one of the
that.
gods, and this is his punishment, and he can never stop.
Right, so he's
It's
just,
like Prometheus getting his liver chewed out every day. That's it.
right. So, anyway, it just seems a great metaphor for what we're doing in our world right now.